Live.
Live. Hello, everybody. So let's try this again. If you can hear us, go ahead and type something in the chat box and let us know that you can hear us. So if you can hear us, maybe that means they can't hear us yet. Oh, it says starting in 60 seconds. All right.
Oh, you've got a countdown.
I guess so. There we go, says Jason. All right.
Happy days.
Happy days. Everyone else got audio. All right. Okay, I think we got that going. Hello, Ricky. Hello, Rita. Excellent. All right. Well, thanks for sitting tight there, everybody. Sorry about the delay there. Welcome to this webinar. I'm really excited to be able to put this on for you. The person that we have, of course, probably needs no introduction. I think most of you are familiar with her and her work. I had the pleasure of working with her. Gosh, what year was that, Jackie, in Habilitat? Was it 2012?
Was it the July or the January that you were there?
I think it was July. Did you meet Melody?
2 years ago, last month that we met.
Oh, wait, say it again?
2 years ago last month.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right. So on that trip, I got to work side by side with Jackie, working with residents at Habilitat. For those of you that don't know, Habilitat is a drug and alcohol rehab center. It's a very special place. I got to work with her, and I got to see her wit, her charm, and the passion that she puts into her work, working with clients. She has since then gone on to create a pretty extraordinary career for herself. She has a background in working in corporate in her previous life, if you will, and decided that she wanted to make something more of her life, something where she wanted to help people, and that's when she began studying EFT, FasterEFT, matrix reimprinting. She took that work into a rehab center in Australia. Is that right, Jackie?
Yeah, they would classify themselves as a health retreat. So people go there for 30-day programs for depression, anxiety, and addictions, mainly.
Yeah. And so you're able to take your work there, and from what I understand, you just felt like you were making a difference, but you weren't. You were working pretty hard, and I think that's that speaks volumes to what we do as practitioners. I think a lot of us feel like we need to sort of give back to the community. What I like about what you're going to share with us today, and we'll talk a little bit more about it, but just off the top of my head, what I like about what you're going to share today is it's a way for us practitioners to really leverage our time so that we're able to help more people, and in return actually have more time to give back to the community if we choose to do that. So I think it's really exciting. I do have a little piece here I want to read about you, so if people don't know about you. Jackie is a level 4 advanced FasterEFT practitioner. She is also a level 3 EFT practitioner. She's a matrix reimprinting practitioner. She's a self-published author. She has over 12,000 copies of her book, Australian Baby Hands. She created a franchise system from that book over 10 years ago. And this experience in business was invaluable for her and her current business. Prior to making the move into her full-time tapping business, Jackie headed up the digital marketing division of one of Australia's leading media agencies. Since leaving her digital marketing career 2 years ago, she has managed to more than replace her income with her full-time tapping business. So this is why I wanted to rope Ms. Durnin in to sharing some things that might be able to help you as practitioners. I've always said, I've done a few of these trainings, Jackie, and you might agree with me, but I've always said that the better we can equip other practitioners in these modalities, the more we can support each other in this work, the more we raise the bar for modalities like FasterEFT, EFT, matrix reimprinting, and the more we can get it out there and the more we can legitimize it, and of course the more people we help, and the more we do that, the better it is for you, for me, for everyone on this call. And so that's really my motivation for, for getting you here. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you might share that, being able to equip practitioners with better resources, to me, is the name of the game. And so that's why I'm really excited to have you here. I've got my notepad. I'm going to take some notes, if I can find my pen. And I'm just really, really excited. So why don't we just start with, give me a little bit of your, I know I read that little bio, but in your own words, give me a little bit of your story. Like, where did it start? Did you always have this desire to get into sort of the healing modalities, or how did you find your way here?
I was working in a large media agency in Sydney, Australia, and I was quite high up the corporate ladder. I was about to take a position as general manager of one of the agencies. They owned 5 agencies. Huge salary, and you're working every hour God sent, basically. And I was very stressed out. And what was coming up with that was, at the time I wasn't aware of it, but now through work that I've done, I was being triggered, and there was a lot of my history, my past, my abuse from when I was a child was being triggered, whether it be through colleagues at work initially, or I was attracting the wrong bloke into my life who was emotionally unavailable, or who made me feel helpless, hopeless, and out of control, which were my emotions that I did a pattern of very well from when I was a child. So I was on a kind of mission to heal myself and change the way I felt. And I had a really good friend of mine in the UK say, have you heard about this modality where you tap on your face and your body, and it's great for depression and anxiety and addictions? And she said this really long list: emotional trauma, physical pain. And my initial response was, what a load of bullshit, because as if there is something that simple, why isn't everyone using it? But desperate times calls for desperate measures. I thought, well, I'm just going to go on a weekend. What's the worst thing that can happen? It can't get any worse, really. I can't get any more stressed than I already am. And I went on the weekend, and I actually felt it was like level 1 EFT. And I felt significantly better. And then I thought, either this stuff works, or they've brainwashed me, or I'm just really easily susceptible. But from that, I ended up going on and doing a level 2, level 3. I met a FasterEFT practitioner at one of the levels of EFT, and then Robert Smith was coming to Australia that year, so I booked on that. Kept going, and I was doing it not because I wanted to make a career out of it. It was all, I was just wanted to heal myself and wanted to feel better. And then what came out of that, and what I noticed when I was on these courses, when I would ask people how are their practices going, people seem to be struggling with how much they were charging, or maybe they shouldn't be charging for this because they're doing good in the world, they're helping people feel better. So there seemed to be a big thing about how much should I charge for this. I'm not very comfortable charging what I'm charging. Also, I'm not getting enough people to come and see me. And the feeling I got was a struggle. If I set up my own practice, it potentially could be a struggle, because that was the perception I had at the time. But I was fine, because I thought, well, I'm not going to change profession. Why would I leave a successful digital marketing career to do something that sounds like hard work and it's going to result in less income for me? But the universe doesn't work like that. And I ended up leaving Sydney and moving to a place, it's 2 hours north of Brisbane. It's a beautiful area called Noosa. And we did the sea change because we have digital marketing businesses, and we thought, well, we can live anywhere. So let's live somewhere we really want to, by the ocean, beautiful rainforest. It's very, very pretty. It's not in the city. And when I made that move, that coincided with me going to Habilitat for the very first time as well. So while I was doing my training, I was making myself available to friends and family, and then friends of friends of friends of friends of friends would come and see me, which is kind of my first tip in relation to your business. Really practice your craft, like really master your art, whether you're just level 1, know your level 1 stuff. People say to me, okay, you've developed this how to tap into corporate course. What level do I need to be? It's not about the level. It's about your comfortability with your craft and with your tool. And if you're totally comfortable with where you're at with level 1 and you're very good at doing level 1 sessions, that's what's important. And that's what I did. I really mastered my craft. I practiced and practiced and practiced. I did lots of swap sessions in the practitioner swap group. So I was signed up to those, and every week I had a session with a lady in, where was she in Europe? I'm trying to remember, but we did Monday and Wednesday. Monday she would tap on me, Wednesday I would tap on her. So that way I was getting guaranteed work done on me at least once a week. And I was getting work with another practitioner, which I think is vital for us as practitioners, because it shows you a different way of doing it. It opens you up to, oh, I never thought about maybe saying it like that or using the tool like that. So mastering your craft is really, really, really important. And doing the work on yourself.
Mm-hmm.
The more work you do on yourself, the clearer you are. And the less you'll go into the story. And we can come back to that point about going into the story. But once I made the move here, and then Habilitat came up, I went to Habilitat and I came back, and the agency in Sydney was allowing me to do remote work still. And I was doing contract to them. And I thought, why am I continuing to do this when I can help put the light on in people's eyes again? I could facilitate them turning the light back on. That's what Habilitat was for me. And it's about working from my heart, not just working for dollars and making some big corporation a lot of money. And so when I came back, I thought it was divine timing, because the company said, look, we don't need you for the next, I think it was 6 months, 3 to 6 months. So we'll definitely need you at the end of the year. And I thought, right, this is my chance. Why don't I launch my tapping business and do it full time? What have I got to lose? And at that moment, I created my first holistic CV, because I didn't have one. And I don't know if many practitioners have a holistic CV, but when you apply for a job, you need a CV to tell you, who you are, why you, what are your, where did you train? Do you have references? And I thought, well, I really want to accelerate my business. So what I did was I applied to, there were a couple of retreats in the area that had people come in for 15 and 30 days to do depression, anxiety, and addictions. You may be able to find these in your local area. I'm sure that there are some in the US. And I sent my CV in, and one of the other points we'll talk about is self-confidence. And I think once you've worked on your stuff and you feel very clear, I was feeling 100% confident to say, basically, I'm awesome and you need to hire me. I can really change the way people feel. I can help people who've got addictions. I can help people who've got depression and anxiety, and I can help them make better, and I can improve the results of your program. So what happened was I got 2 job offers. What was really interesting was with one of the job offers, they offered me and a trained counselor who ran her own practice with 5 other trained counselors and psychologists in Brisbane for the previous 10 years. So there was little old me who was trained in FasterEFT, EFT, and Reimprinting, and a lady who's had years of counseling experience and running her own practice, being offered the same. They said, we love you both, but we only have one job, so we're suggesting that you both take the job part-time. And they offered us a rate of $50 an hour Australian, which I think might be around 40 35, I don't know, $40 an hour. My initial response was, oh my God, how unprofessional that they're going to talk about money in front of another colleague, because you would never do that in the corporate world. I would never offer two potential candidates a job at the same time and offer them their dollars in front of them. But the other lady's response was, oh, I'm so excited. Thank you so, so much. Thank you so much. And my response was, I'm sorry, $50 in my head was $50 doesn't cut it, but now is not the time to talk about it. Mm-hmm. But again, it came back to self-confidence, because I could have been sitting there going, she's deeply grateful to be getting $50, and she's run a practice for 10 years and she's had, you know, multiple counselors reporting into her. Who do I think I am? But I knew for a fact that I'm very good at my craft. I'm very good at what I do. So why shouldn't I ask for more money? So I did. And I negotiated a higher rate. It wasn't a lot more. It was about $85 an hour. But the good thing I knew was I put in set conditions with them. So, you know, if this is an opportunity for anyone in the US, if you do have any sort of retreats and you can create a holistic CV, I say go for it. Send out that CV to any of these places and tell them how amazing you are. If you need to get a reference, like Alan and I would have had a reference from Jeff Nash, which, you know, was fantastic and invaluable for me. But maybe you could get a reference from fellow practitioners.
Mm-hmm.
And then don't be afraid to say no, and don't be afraid to negotiate. If you're not happy with what's being offered. I went back and I said, look, if you are going to offer me a reduced rate for my normal rate, which I think my normal rate was $130 or $140 an hour. And I was like, if you are going to offer me a reduced rate, I want a guaranteed 6 hours a day work, because I'm driving to your facility. You need to guarantee me 6 hours, and you need to guarantee me 3 days a week, or etc. So don't be afraid.
I love this part of your story, and I want to just just pause you for a moment, because this is such an important key aspect of it that I think a lot of practitioners overlook, and that is, you knew you had the goods. And I think a lot of practitioners don't realize that what they have, the knowledge they have, even at a level 1, whether it's EFT, Matrix, FasterEFT, whatever, that information, as long as you continue to study and continue to hone your craft, as you mentioned earlier, that information is it can be light years ahead of what many, many people have, especially if they've grown up in a corporate environment and they don't know any better, or whatever, and just about every facet of life it goes across. So very, very powerful point there, that we forget sometimes, because we're in this all the time, we forget what we know that other people do not. And so we are specialists, very much so.
Yes.
And there's confidence in that knowing.
Definitely. And I think one thing that facility offered me was, I suppose, honing my skill even a little more. But it opened me up to, there were 3 sessions that well, there was probably a few, but there's 3 definitely that spring to mind. And again, it was that same scenario that you could be playing the story of who do you think you are? You know, I grew up in a home where my father and mother were unemployed all of my life. So, you know, who do I think that I am? And I've only studied EFT, FasterEFT, Matrix. Who do I think I am to be the one doing this session? The 3 people that I did sessions with, one was a clinical psychologist who was in their 50s, so had a practice for many, many years. When I walked into, because they all have their own accommodation, cabins. When I walked into her cabin, she was like, what are you doing here? I'm meant to be having a session with this other coach, life coach. Why are you here? And I said, oh, sorry, my name's Jackie, and we actually have a time allocated. Oh, you're Jackie. So they nicknamed me Tappy Jackie. I was like, you're Tappy Jackie. Oh, that's different. Okay, let's sit down. So the beginning of the session was just like, oh, am I in the right place? She proceeded to tell me her credentials. And I feel sometimes that there can be that level of, I don't know if it's a tactic to intimidate, because, they've done a lot of work on themselves, especially when they've come from some sort of clinical background. And I started working on her, and I just kept telling myself, and this is something I encourage other practitioners to do, just keep telling yourself, stick with the formula, it works.
Mm-hmm.
If you follow the process, it works. It doesn't matter who is sitting opposite you. It could be Harry bloody Potter. It could be Obama. It doesn't matter who it is. Just follow the process. So that's what I did. I sat there and I followed the process, and she was crying within moments. It was fantastic. And not that that's a good thing, but that's always when you hit water, you know, you're onto a good thing. And, you know, she said to me at the end of the session, I have never cleared so much stuff in one session through my, like when I've been in sessions with someone else, as in she's getting the work done, as I have today.
Yeah.
And I said, fantastic. And we had more sessions. Another guy that I met, he was, again, either a psychologist or psychotherapist. It was psych in his title. Very intimidating man. From this point of view, again, he was telling me his credentials. I'm not sure this is going to work on any level, but I'm open to doing it. I thought, just keep following the process, just follow the process. And we went to somewhere he wasn't expecting. He was in floods of tears, huge release. His comment to me after it was, why isn't this in any of my reference material? And I was like, well, they have done some research on EFT that's starting to come out around the world. He's like, you need to do research on this in Australia. This is ridiculous. I can't use this in my facility, in like his clinic, until it's been, he's got research behind it. And then the final guy was a pediatrician. So he works with children. He gets lots of cases of ADHD, ADD, parents wanting that diagnosis. It was a very interesting conversation where he said, you know, I feel sometimes that the parents aren't taking responsibility, and I know that they don't have that diagnosis. But when I don't give that diagnosis, he gets reported to, and he gets put on performance review, because the parents will lodge a complaint against him, which is really interesting. But at the end of the conversation with him, he was really blown away. He thought, I'm not sure if this is going to make any difference. We did the session. He felt incredible. And he said at the end of the session, would you like to do some research with me? I was like, yes, which ties into another point. If anyone asks you a question, say yes, and worry about how you're going to do it later.
Good advice.
So I think irrespective of who's in the chair, it doesn't matter what their credentials are. It doesn't matter who they are. If you've practiced your craft and you've mastered your craft, and it doesn't matter what level you are or what modality, if it's EFT or FasterEFT, you know, we've seen the debates, you know, which is better. It's what the pediatrician said to me, which was a beautiful statement. He said, it's all about the owner operator. Everybody can learn to drive. Some people are crap drivers. Some people are really good drivers. So my thing to you is really practice your driving. Practice your reverse parking. Practice, you know, changing gears. And if you practice your craft and master your craft, it doesn't matter what level you are, because in level 1, whether it's EFT or FasterEFT, you'll be taught specific techniques. And if you really master them, you'll feel really confident. And then it doesn't matter who's sitting in the chair in front of you. And it doesn't matter if they try and intimidate you. You don't have to buy into that, because you know, if you follow the process, you'll get the goods. It's going to work.
Yeah. You know, I think that one of the things I notice young practitioners, or any level really, so the trap they fall into, the mental trap, is thinking that they need to do something to impress that person sitting across from them. And it's really not about that. It's about being present, and it's not about you as a practitioner. It's about that person sitting in front of you. And if you take your ego out of the way, so to speak, and just focus on your task at hand, which is, as Jackie said, sticking with the formula. You have a process. Stick with that process and do it with the right intention, which is, of course, to help that person in front of you. and be patient and be persistent and know that you're doing the right thing. That will give you that congruency. That'll give you that confidence, I think, and it will give you the skills, as Jackie said, of driving that car so that you can be congruent with your work, and that will speak volumes when you go to other people and present what you have to offer. So that's awesome. Yeah. I love everything you just said. Yeah. So great. So are we into like the 5 points, or?
Well, the first point was practice your craft and really hone it.
Excellent.
And as I said, it doesn't matter the level, just really get comfortable with that. Do lots of swaps with other practitioners, because that will give you insight in different ways, maybe to verbalize stuff or do the technique, and do work on yourself so that you are comfortable sitting in that chair. And like you said, it doesn't matter what they say. And I think a big thing as well is be authentic. When you're sitting in that chair, don't try to be Robert Smith or Alan Combies or Jackie Durnin or anyone else. Just be you. Every time I sit in the chair, I come from a space of, look at, I believe in this technique because it's really helped me. My story is I was abused when I was a child, and I can only say that to you now because I've worked on it, and I don't even feel like I'm talking about myself. It's not disassociation. It's just an old story, and it doesn't serve me anymore. And I want to be able to do that for you with whatever you are going to tell me today. So being authentic really, really helps you build that client relationship. So it doesn't matter who's there. They can sense that you're being authentic and that you're not full of crap, and that you're not trying to be something that you're not. So if you have the process and you've mastered your craft and you're being authentic, you're going to be getting good results.
Yeah, and to your point again on working on yourself, I just want to share my experience there too, because I, from late 2008, when I found FasterEFT, my modality, as well as yours, I probably tapped on myself for about 2 years before I had anybody else tap on me, just because I didn't, I wasn't really going out to seminars. I was doing everything from my bedroom, literally. And I had tremendous changes. But the moment I began getting work done on myself with other practitioners is the moment that my life and my practice really began changing. One of the things that I did was I had 2 other practitioners that I had found in the area, and we began doing weekly swaps in person where we did crossfire tapping on each other, which is basically 2 practitioners on one client, and we just swapped each month. And like you said, getting to know other people's styles, getting to know other ways, other insights is very, very invaluable. And of course, the healing, you get to deal with your stuff. And the more you clean that stuff up, I mean, let's face it, any of us could start a business solely on fears of putting ourselves out there, the belief about what we're capable of. As you mentioned before, your story going in your background, being able to recognize that story and address it is such a big key. And so this I want to reiterate what you said about working on yourself. So awesome. And that allows you to be more authentic, because then you can actually say, hey, look, this is where I was and this is where I am today. And that's how I want to help you. So awesome.
Yeah. I think my second point, once you've mastered your craft, is don't be afraid to say yes, which I've touched on before, but really be comfortable saying yes. Work out how you're going to do it later. And so there's a couple of things that spring to mind. Most recently, in the last 4 months or so, I actually had an email through my website, and I think I told you, Alan, about this. And it was a lady from India who wanted to me to go to India to work with her and her family using tapping. And so she wanted to host me in India. I sent her a message back saying that the sessions can be done via Skype, and that if we were to do face-to-face, it would be a lot more expensive because she'd have to fly me from Australia. And her response to that was, don't worry about it. When can you come? And so what proceeded was phone calls, and she just wanted me to come to India. And I thought, you know what? Yes, and I'll work out what's going to happen and how am I going to do it. And if anything comes up fear-wise, I can tap that shit out. So what was interesting, I was talking to my husband, was part of the deal was my husband was going to fly with me to India because I didn't know where I was going, and she agreed. And my husband was talking to a friend of his and said, oh my God, this lady from India has approached Jackie and wants to fly her over for 2 weeks, and I fly me. And, you know, was going to offer us to go see the Taj Mahal and all these wonderful things. And isn't it amazing? And their initial response was, God, I would never have said yes. And my husband's like, why? And he's like, oh no, I just couldn't. I just wouldn't be able to. And then when I talked to more people, there was a bunch of people that were like, no, it would never even have entered my head to say yes to that opportunity. So it kind of opened me up to that there are people out there who wouldn't have said yes. So that's why my second point is always say yes. You can worry about and go into fear about how you're going to organize it or what you're going to do, and are you good enough to go to India, and who's she going to introduce you to, and all the rest of it after the fact. And like I said, even this pediatrician asked me, said, would you be interested in doing research with me? My response was yes. Do I know how to do research? No. Do I know what's involved? No. Good news is he's associated with one of the top universities in Australia and has access to a statistics department and a research department and a department that can apply for a government grant, so we could do the research. So you know what? I don't need to worry about any of those things. And again, if I'm in my authentic self and I'm let him know that I'm very keen to do research, but I don't even know where to start with it, I'm being authentic, and we can proceed from there, if that makes sense. So always say yes. And on my course, the How to Tap into Corporates, that's one of the things that I talk to people about. If you get an opportunity with a company and they want you to do some sort of tapping, whether it's a group or one-on-one sessions, say yes and worry about it later. A lot of people go, oh my God, but what if I have to tap on the CEO? Well, it's just a name. It's just a label. And why are you buying into the label? You could call yourself, you're an FasterEFT practitioner. That's a label. So why are you going into fear over CEO? At the end of the day, everybody's just a person. They're just wearing different clothes and they've got a different name tag. So say yes, worry about it later. And in the health retreat where I was, there was lots of opportunities. When they realized what I could do with tapping, initially they were getting me to mainly work with addiction, depression, anxiety, but then they would get lots of other people. They had quite a few kids in their late teens, early 20s, with bulimia or anorexia or self-harm, multiple personality disorder. And they would go, oh, Jackie, we've tried the other coaches. Could you go in? And the part of me going, oh, because sometimes I wouldn't have had any experience working with those. But again, I would just go in and go, if I follow the formula, I know it will work. And I had this girl, they had a girl there who was on the verge of going back to a psychiatric institute, eaten in 2 or 3 days. She was very, very frail. So they said, you're our last chance. Now, no pressure. And I went in to do the session and I thought, you know what? Come from an authentic place and follow the process. And I did. And she actually ate an apple that evening. I was very happy because that was huge, because normally she only eats like a segment of an apple, but she had a whole apple, which was a big deal. Awesome. So follow the process, master your craft, and get comfortable saying yes. Always say yes. I could have gone into fear and gone, oh my God, this girl hasn't eaten in 3 days. If I fail, she's going back to a psychiatric institution. But I didn't go into that because I thought, you know what, at the end of the day, all I can do is help her in the situation. And if what I do doesn't help her enough. That is her journey. That's the journey she's on, and I've done the best I can do with the knowledge I have at this moment in time. So
excellent. And you know,
yes.
again, that's so important, because how many of us out there have been given opportunities where our you know, it was handed there right in front of us, but because of our own beliefs, we didn't step through that. And really, you know, when I work with clients on this type of issue, it really comes down to, how selfish are you? You know, you would rather put your own fears and doubts in front of this person that it could actually use your help, this person that you could change their life, as you did that woman, you know, with bulimia and everything else. So it's like, you know, it's really, again, I think it's taking ourselves out of our own heads and putting the other person first. And that's really the power of this work. Jackie mentioned, I'm just going to let people know here, you mentioned your Tapping into Corporates program. We're going to give everybody a chance to, I'm looking for the link right now, so that's why I'm getting distracted here. But we're going to give everybody a chance to find out more about that towards the end of the webinar. If you guys are interested in the program that she's offering, of course, we're going to give you a chance. It's not for everybody. There's a very limited seat number, but there's an application process. So we'll be giving you that application process before the end of this program. Sorry, I'm doing this really quick.
That's all right.
All right. I think I almost have it here. I just want to get the link handy. All right. Well, you keep talking and I'll get the link. So, all right. So that's awesome. So far we have
practice your craft.
Practice your craft.
Comfortable saying yes.
Good. What's next?
What's next is get comfortable hearing no. Get comfortable dealing with rejection. You know, I haven't had everybody say yes to me. I've had people who have said no, they don't want a session, or they felt better after the session and they don't want another session because for whatever reason. I've had companies who don't want me to do work with them. And it's about taking the no and moving forward, because for every no you get, you're one step closer to another yes. So the more no's you get, you should be celebrating them, because you're getting closer to a yes. It's all about changing your perspective on the no, because you could just go, oh shit, they don't want me and I'm terrible and everybody's saying no. But if you change your perspective and said, I'm one step closer to a yes, suddenly that no doesn't have the same sting. And this kind of brings me back to when I wrote my book, Australian Baby Hands. So it's teaching parents how to communicate with their children using sign language. And I wrote the book, and at the time, I had a bit of a record playing in my head that I'm not a teacher, I'm not a parent, I'm not a mother, I'm not a childcare worker, I'm not a nurse. And so why have I written this book, and why would anyone buy this book from me? Because I'm not all these people. But what I was somebody who was very passionate about sign language, very passionate about this subject, and I created this magnificent resource. So when I got the resource out there into the marketplace, I did a couple of TV appearances and it went really well, and we got lots of sales. And then it felt like I literally hid in a cupboard, because what happened was I had all these amazing positive testimonials, and then I would have one negative one that said, I think this is a load of crap, or this doesn't work, or whatever. And I allowed that to impact me. Instead of reading the 10 others that said, wow, what an amazing resource, that one would help me buy into the story of, I'm not a parent, I'm not a teacher, I'm not a sign language interpreter. And I would go into, so it felt like I hid in a cupboard for about a year. Yeah. And a year later, after doing some work, I was able to re-emerge and go, okay, but I may not be all those things, but I'm someone who's passionate, and I'm very passionate about this subject, and I can do this. And so that's what that taught me for, I feel like, this new kind of career that's unfolding with tapping. It's not about the I'm not a. You know, I've met other practitioners who are hypnotherapists. I've met other practitioners who are psychologists, who are psychiatrists. I could go into the story of I'm not a hypnotherapist, I'm not a, but I'm not going into that. I am a amazing EFT practitioner. I am an amazing FasterEFT practitioner. I'm an amazing matrix reimprinting practitioner. I'm an amazing tapper, full stop. I follow my formula and it works. So I don't need to be any of those things. That's not what this is about. So get really comfortable hearing no, because for every no that you hear, you're one step closer to a yes. And that could be the yes that changes your life and your business. And that kind of brings me to point 4, which is self-confidence. Because once you've mastered your craft and you've worked on your stuff and you've worked with other practitioners and you've got comfortable doing sessions, you've had comfortable saying yes to opportunities, and you've got comfortable hearing no's and not taking them personally because you know you're one step closer to a yes, that all buys into your self-confidence. And the more self-confident I know if Richard Branson came to my door today and said, Jackie, I want a session with you, I would have no problem going, no problem, Richard, let's get in a room. I'm going to sort your shit out. If you sort out, because I'm sure he does. Or if the Prime Minister of Australia wanted me to do a session, I would have absolutely no problem saying yes. And that's where you need to get comfortable. You need to get comfortable. It doesn't matter who it is that's standing in front of you, whether it's the CEO of an organization, whether it is a politician, it doesn't matter who it is, that you're comfortable saying yes. And so when I was in India, this lady was very well connected, and she ended up introducing me to politicians of India, to the commissioners of police, to rather large entrepreneurial type people, you know, some of the richest men in Asia. And all I kept saying to myself was, at the end of the day, they're just a person with a label and a nice suit or wearing designer clothes. And, you know, follow the formula. That's why you're here in the first place. Follow the formula and you'll be fine. She would introduce me as the most amazing healer who has flown all the way from Australia. Now, I don't like the word, not that, well, healer isn't the thing that I would call myself, right. But I just thought, you know, whatever, if that's what she needs to say to them to get the session, maybe that's what she's comfortable with, that's fine with me. Just say yes and do the session. Are you comfortable doing a session with this politician who has his own plane and owns 10 hotels and he'll fly you in if he needs you, Jackie, for sessions? Yes. Oh my God, did she just say that? Is that what? Oh my God, can I do this? But I'm not Robert Smith. I'm not Nick Ortner. I'm not Gary Craig. No, but I'm Jackie Durnin. I'm bloody awesome at what I do.
Awesome. Yeah, we were joking earlier. I says, I can't wait to introduce you as Jackie Durnin, the gal that's worked on everybody from the heroin addict off the street to the billionaire in India. That's freaking awesome. And it's because that you have kept saying yes, and you've kept working on yourself, and you don't let the no's discourage you. So I hope you guys are writing all this stuff down, because I mean, this is powerful stuff. You have someone in front of you who is building a business bigger than mine. I mean, I'm taking notes, and of course, I mean, this is gold. So I'll stop talking. Go ahead.
All right. My final point was about realizing your worth. Because as I said at the beginning, a lot of the practitioners, when I first started going on these courses, you know, when I'd ask them how much they're charging, because I had no idea what you could charge as a tapping practitioner. You know, some people were going, oh, I still do free, or $20 an hour. Or some people were more, you know, courageous. They were $70. I'm trying to remember, did I have anyone in like $100 in the 3-digit field? I don't think in the very early days of me, like level 1 did. And when I was doing my digital stuff, I was charging $130 an hour. So I thought, sugar, I need to get to a point that I can charge that or more to replace my income. So what concerned me was that there weren't practitioners realizing their worth. if you follow the formula, you can really make a big change in people's lives. You can facilitate that change, and that's priceless. And I have some people saying, but I'm doing something that's pretty amazing, and it's so good that I don't feel like I should charge for it. But maybe if you were charging more for it, you wouldn't have to do as many sessions or as many groups or as many corporate gigs. Then you'd have the time that you could volunteer yourself to work with the homeless organization, or there's people that in your community that could benefit from a session, and you decide, I'm going to do it for free because this person doesn't have the cash, and I know that it can really help their lives. So if you can get comfortable with realizing what your worth is, and a big part of the program on the 3-day how to tap into corporates, I work on what your worth is, because the course is designed to get people in the mindset that they're comfortable with charging 4,000 Australian dollars a day. Now, 4,000 Australian dollars, I think in US is about 3,000 maybe. Not sure the exchange rate, but roughly 3,000. Right now, I'm looking at revising my prices, and as of October 1st, I'm going to be charging $6,000 a day.
I remember hearing about your program, and I thought, oh, 4,000 Australian, that's nice, or 3,000 or whatever it was. And I thought, but she should be charging like 10.
Yes, and I think that was the thing for me. Once I started charging the 4 and got the 4, people, a lady that I know who runs a speakers bureau, I was telling her about what I'm doing. She said, oh, I know a guy who's going into corporates, and he works with just the sales team on their communication. And he's charging 10,000 Australian dollars a day. And that really opened me up to, okay, well, why am I only charging 4?
Exactly. And so it's not about like being greedy. It's about knowing, like you said, knowing your worth. I mean, we're talking about going in and helping not just 1 or 2 people. We're talking about helping an entire sales team, or an entire whatever department, an entire company. Who knows? I mean, you could potentially get gigs where you're sitting in front of 500 people. And so knowing what you're offering and knowing what your value is, I think it goes down to the first thing you mentioned, is just knowing, working on yourself and realizing that you've got the goods. No matter what level you're on, you have the knowledge. Remember that. Keep telling yourself, keep working on yourself until you're able to communicate that and accept it and believe it. And of course, keep saying yes. Yeah.
And for me, when I got my first corporate gig, I thought I'm going to charge them $4,000 a day. I also sold them that there was 8 people coming on the workshop that I developed. And so each of them would then have a 2-hour session the preceding day. So I would get 3 days work. So they would get a special offer if they bought the 2 days of tapping as well. So in that 3 days, I think I was making $7,500, which is a monthly salary for someone easily. And the other thing I did as well, so there's an airport about 20 minutes from my home. It's a regional kind of airport, so there's not a lot of flights. And then there's an airport in Brisbane, which is, flights every hour on the hour. And I thought, this client, I had to fly to see them. And I thought, I'm going to quote them from my regional airport, which I know is double the cost. But why not? I'm going to quote that, and because the flights are so infrequent, I'm going to have to add an extra night's accommodation on either side of my trip, because to make the flight there and back. And I thought, then I've got negotiation power, because if they say no, I can then go, okay, well, I'll fly from the other airport and I don't need as many nights accommodation. But they came back and just said yes. They didn't even think about it. And it made me realize you have to just put it out there. At the end of the day, someone can say no, but if you're comfortable with hearing no, because you're getting closer to a yes, you can then negotiate. You've got a couple of things up your sleeve. And so you could negotiate, okay, I'll, go fly from a different airport, or I'll give you a better price on whatever, this or that.
Yeah.
These
And you know what's important about that too, and I'm just hearing as it comes out of your mouth, it's like if you were to be mousy on negotiations, all of a sudden it makes them go, oh wait, who are we hiring here? Does this person really know what they're doing? And so it's like you owe it to your craft, you owe it to the information you're sharing to be confident in all levels, including your negotiation for fee, because otherwise you might be tainting the information unwittingly.
Yes, yes. And I feel the reason I started approaching corporates was about, okay, how can I leverage this business? Because while I enjoy the one-on-ones, I did want to take my business to a whole new level that I potentially, my goal was to work 5 days a month. And if I was charging $4,000 a day, no, so I was going to be charging, was it 5 days? Anyway, I had in my head, it was $30,000, must have been, anyway, whatever the calculations were. It was $30,000 a month, but it was only like 6 or 7 days work.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, fantastic, that's what I want to do. And then I have the rest of the month to decide who I'm working with, when I'm working, and how much downtime I've had, and even time for maybe if I wanted to learn something else or explore or travel. So, and having a goal in mind, whatever you want to achieve. So corporate helped me do that, because what corporate does is I now have one company on a retainer. A retainer is every month they pay me a set amount of money and I go work with them for 2 days a month. And so I know I have a guaranteed, I charged $7,000 for those 2 days. So I know that I have $7,000 coming in the door for those 2 days. And then I have other work that I do. So I have other work that I do with other corporates that might be one-off pieces of work, or it could be a 3-month piece of work. And then I have my private practice. And then I still do a little bit of work at that retreat every now and then, when it's more like when I choose to do it rather than they dictating to me, you need to do these hours. I'm like, I'm actually available this week. I've got 1-2 days up my sleeve. If you want me, I'll come up and I can work. So I feel corporate really opened up for me much more flexibility, financially, much more stability. And as I was an employee, I know what it was like. So the drive for this was, if I could only give people a tool that, you know, would release that stress and make their work a whole lot better, wouldn't it be fantastic? Now, a lot of people say to me, oh my God, but you've been in corporate, you've probably just gone to all your corporate contacts and that's why you've got your thing working. None of the people that I've approached are people that I actually know, which some people might think is a bit crazy. But the reason I specifically haven't approached the people that I know is because, to me, they're almost easy targets. I want to go to the people that don't know me, don't have a history with me, and that I can go and I can show them this stuff and I can get in the door. If I can get in the door with them, the other people are way easier to do. And so that's what I've done. I've gone out and proven a system, writing emails that work, that convert people, writing quotes, writing proposals, getting the feedback from these people that don't know me. When they say no, I know why. And then I've tweaked the system and then created a system that can be duplicated, because the big thing I've learned is 99% of corporates have no idea about tapping. They've never experienced it. They don't know that it'll increase their productivity, decrease the rate of absenteeism in the workforce, or change the company culture or the morale of the company, because you're going to have a happier, healthier employee. But if you talk to any CEO or senior business person and say that you can do those things, they're interested. So on the course, I teach you exactly how to find these people, how to approach them, how to get a meeting with them, how to, all you need to do is stick your logo on all my stuff. And I've made it that simple because I think it's really important that we get into corporates. I can't do this by myself. I'm one person. The more people that get out there, like you said at the beginning, the more people that know about tapping, the more people that know what it can do. And it can really change, I think, the corporate world and have a much more productive, present employee, an employee living in the present moment.
Yeah. So
which is pretty fantastic.
it is fantastic. So let's talk about this, because I hope your minds have been expanding as you've been listening to Jackie talk, because this is really, I think, the next level. I think it's the next level for you and your business. And so, of course, Jackie, you have got this program that we talked about. I think I put the link. Can you see the link in the chat list there?
I can't see the link, but I don't know if others can see the link.
Okay, I'm going to put it down here again. So tell, I mean, if you were to like outline, I mean, what I've heard so far from your program is like, you know, well, let me put it this way. I've been to certain trainings where you go to trainings and thank you, Jason and Cindy, the link is there. All right, so I've gone to trainings where they promise a lot of this stuff and then they kind of just give you an outline, you know, sort of like outline on what, you know, what to do and how to do it. Yeah, you've probably been to those too. Everything I'm hearing about your training, Jackie, is that you go above and beyond and really sort of hand over your business to people that attend these trainings. So what if you could just sort of like very briefly go sort of do an outline of what you're offering? I know you've covered a lot of that so far, but maybe just a bullet point of what would I expect if I go to this training?
So it's a 3-day training, and in the 3-day training, I teach you everything that I've learned about becoming a corporate health and wellness consultant. That's what I call myself, or a stress management consultant. You can change whatever name you want. I give you basically, people have described it as a business in a box. So you'll get access to a members area, and in that members area you can download all of my templates. So you'll have email templates that you just copy and paste, and you change the name of exactly what I said to people to secure a meeting with them. I'll teach you how I found the people in the companies to get the meetings in the first place. I'll teach you, I'll give you a templated proposal deck, so that once you get the meeting, okay, what am I going to present to them? Well, you've got a proposal. All you need to do is stick your logo on it and go and present that. I'll give you quote template decks, so templated quotes, so you know when they ask you how much is it going to be, you can send through the quote. I've got templated, so I've created a 1-day workshop as well. And that's kind of probably the main thing that I sell a lot to corporates, this 1-day workshop, which talks about kind of how the mind works and then introduces tapping as well. That 1-day workshop, you will get the templated, I'm just going to see if I have the, 1 second. I think I have it here. Yes, I do. Okay, so this is my workbook that I have for, you might be able to see it, but it's a very thick workbook. And this is for the attend. So you'll get the template of this, and then instead of my logo at the bottom, you'll put your logo, and you'll put the company that you work with here. You'll also get the PowerPoint presentation to support that. You'll get all the videos that I play. You'll get all the activities. You'll get an Excel spreadsheet of timings on how much time you should spend on each aspect of the workshop, so that you get basically the 8 hours of the day. So as well as everything you need for the 1-day workshop, you'll get access to lots of other tools in the members area that you would need to help you run more streamlined, successful business. You'll also get access to a Facebook group for how to tap into corporates, graduates, if you want to call it. So we've done it in Brisbane and in Melbourne. So people are now in there chatting among themselves. And what I really like about the Facebook group is it's creating an international team. I am not just Jackie Durnin from Your Inner Power going into a corporate. I have a team of practitioners I work with internationally. So if you're a multinational organization And one company I'm working with has 52 offices around the world. I'm like, fantastic, because I have practitioners all around the world who can help me deliver my training. So the way that I envisage the Facebook group working is that, you know, for example, Alan, you might go Silicon Valley, like you said, it's down the road. You might go to Google and say, hey, Google, how's it going? I'm Alan and I can do this stuff.
I can throw a rock and hit YouTube and Facebook right here.
Yeah, well, there you go. Could say, Facebook, hey, I'm ready and I want to do this. And then they say, yeah, excellent. We want you to deliver it to 10 offices. We've got 10 offices, 1 here and 9 others around the world. You could get on the Facebook group going, oh my God, somebody help me. Or who's going to help me deliver this? I can deliver these 3. Can somebody help me with these? I think it's going to be a great way for people to work as a team together. And I think that Facebook group is going to be invaluable moving forward. What else do you get? So on the workshop, we'll also work through dealing with rejection. We'll work on your self-confidence issues. We'll work on any money issues. So by the end of the workshop, you are comfortable charging a minimum of $4,000 per day, because that's where I want you to be at. As you mentioned, Alan, it's by application only. And the reason I've done this is because I want it to be an intimate training. I don't want 100 people there. We're locking it off at 20 because I think 20 is a number that everybody's questions can get answered. We can work through all the material. And by the Sunday night when we're finished, everyone feels 150% confident walking out that door that they can crush it at being a consultant to corporates. So yeah, we talk about operations and systems for being a corporate health and wellness consultant, marketing and branding. Like I said, all my personal material, everything I've learned and everything that works, and all the stuff that doesn't work, because you might leave and go, you know what, I just still want to try this. So I tell you also the stuff that didn't work, because that might eliminate some time for you, because, you know, people still like to try some ideas they have of their own. So I'll just to help you along the way so that you don't have the same stumbling blocks as me. And as the reason we're doing application as well is we want, we're looking for a certain type of person. I'm looking for someone who's motivated, someone who wants to take their business to the next level. I'm looking for someone who's willing to work, because I might be giving you everything you need to make your business succeed. You still have to contact the companies. You still have to send the emails. You still have to put the logo on these documents. So there's a bit of admin to do. There's still some work to do. It's not going to magically happen overnight. The people who've been on the trainings in Brisbane and Melbourne were like, the thing I like about it is Monday morning, I could start, the day after the course, I could basically start the process of tapping into corporates and be getting my admin done. So there's no reason why you can't start finding your contacts and contacting them while updating all your material.
I was just, so, yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think I heard, of course, I was in Habilitat on this last trip, and one of your attendees at one of your events was there, Marilyn.
Yes.
I'm sure she doesn't mind me mentioning her name. And did I hear that she went out the very next day and ended up getting her first client?
Yeah, so Marilyn got a meeting with the CEO literally a day or two after the course. And Marilyn's in her mid to late 60s, so she was one of probably the older ones on the course. You know, so age is not a barrier. You know, if Marilyn can do it, anyone can do it. You know, it's not about the age. And she did a lot of work on that weekend as well about clearing any barriers so that she could go out there and be absolutely awesome at being a corporate health and wellness consultant. And I have had some people message me saying, just secured a meeting with so-and-so or such a person in an organization. And people are doing it at their own pace. Some people are still, you know, wanting to get their website right, or wanting to do their business cards, or, you know, trying to get all the admin done before they start. Whereas other people are like, you know what, I'm going to start contacting people and I can do that at the same time. So yeah, if you want to take your business to a different level, if you want to only work a couple of days a month. Some people say, how many clients do I need? Well, it just really depends on you. Some people, one client will be enough. They'll earn $4,000 for 1 day's work, or they might do 2 days and charge 7,000. I suggest having more than one client, because then not all your eggs are in one basket. And if your client does have experience, you know, some tightening from a budgeting perspective, that you have other clients that you can work with. But, you know, we have limited seats in LA. It would be fantastic if you want to come along. We're going to have an amazing weekend. I can't wait. I've never been to LA. I'm so excited.
I can't wait to have you. I can't wait to take you out to dinner, you and your husband. So yes, I'm going to be there for sure, man. I mean, I think what you're offering is incredible. And what really gets me, it just kind of struck me, is that, again, there's a lot of other programs out there that might help you in business and things like that. But how many of them also give you a chance to clear away your shit? You know, to actually work on the very things, the mental game that's keeping you. I mean, how many of us have gone to seminars of, you know, how to do this and how to do that, only to end up with a stack of workbooks, you know, on our shelf and not really take much action. Yeah. And so what you're offering here, and what we as practitioners can really offer in general, is this is just a great example, Jackie, of what I think is capable. I hope that people are realizing, again, how this should be expanding your awareness, expanding your mind of what's really capable for you. And then to have something like this, an opportunity where you're literally handing over everything that worked, letting people know what didn't work. You're really paving the road for us for success in this game, to raise the bar for ourselves. Again, I think the most the most exciting part about this is that you can earn a living, a great living, helping more people, and then having time to give back to other people. I mean, I know in my business that I've created time and space in my calendar now to be able to help my friends, to be able to help my family, and to be able to help my fellow practitioners. And to be able to do that is almost more rewarding sometimes than the income. But of course, we all need to eat and have a place to live and everything else. So I really, really like what you're doing here with the leverage and the whole business model. I think it's fantastic. I mean, just to cover some of the things you talked,
I was going to say, I've had a few people say to me about the price. You know, $3,000 is a lot of money, and I don't doubt that for a moment. But the reason it's $3,000 is because of all the material. A number of the people who've been to the course were blown away by actually how much material I gave away. You get everything but the kitchen sink, pretty much. This isn't your average course, and you get access to the Facebook group. And the good news is the formula that I'm teaching you, if you follow the formula, there's no reason why with one corporate client, you'll make more than the price of the course back in 1 day.
Easy.
So it's 3,000 Australian dollars for the course, but you can make $4,000 back in 1 day's work. But you may decide that, you know what, I'm actually going to start charging $5,000 or $6,000 a day because I can. And the other thing I was saying to people as well is, people were saying, well, why are you giving away all your stuff? You know, we're going to create all this competition in the marketplace for other people. I don't believe that, because do you know how many organizations there are out there? You might decide that you're just going to target small businesses that are less than, I don't know, 50, 20 people. Another practitioner might be going for the big blue chip companies, and they might target a specific sector, just the travel sector, for example. I have one practitioner who's based in Australia, and she's decided she wants to do some international work. So she's been targeting Singapore at the moment, because she doesn't want to target Australia. She wants to target Singapore. So she's targeting Singapore to try and get some, so it can be an international gig. I have a client that I'm speaking to at the moment who is in the US. I'm not sure how that's going to work out, whether I end up doing it or I get somebody who ends up being on the course and I give it to them as a lead, and we do some sort of revenue share. I don't know yet. But I'm pursuing it because they're a huge multinational organization and they're very keen to talk to me. So yes, $3,000 is a lot of money, but you can make that money back in one day's work, once you know what to do and how to do it.
Absolutely. And I love the fact that you're thinking big on this. You're thinking networking, you're thinking team environment. It just shows and points to your abundance mindset, because that's really what it's all about. You're already thinking about spreading the wealth, sharing, because we can't. There's no way you, me, or 10 other practitioners could help all the businesses out there. Are you kidding me? And so by teaming up like this and being able to refer business out, I think it's a beautiful model. And this is really the ground floor of what you're doing here. So it's fascinating. So you mentioned Los Angeles. Go ahead.
To have that team, to have people all around the world, you know, that if you're in LA and you go, you know what, I want to work in Australia, I've got a team that you can work with there.
Yeah. Or if you want to decide you want to travel and, you know, pack your bags for a month or 2 or 6 and decide you want to work in Australia, like you said, or in China or in the UK, you know, I think it presents an amazing possibilities. So you mentioned, of course, LA, which is the one I'm excited about. Pretty sure that's the one I'm going to go to since I live here. What other ones are coming up?
So I'm actually flying back to Ireland tomorrow because we've got one coming up in Belfast on the 28th of August for 3 days. So Deirdre McGuire is going to be at that one.
Awesome.
The next one is in Toronto on the 11th of September. So the 11th, 12th, and 13th. The following weekend is Houston, 18th, 19th, and 20th of September. And then the final weekend is LA, the 25th, 26th, and 27th of September.
Awesome. So Belfast is coming up. Toronto.
And then maybe all graduates of How to Tap into Corporates will meet somewhere like in Fiji or the Caribbean at Christmas to celebrate all of their amazing work.
I love it. Awesome. All right. So, okay. So some of the things that you covered earlier are one, practice your craft, which I think, gosh, it's so important. It's one of the reasons why I like my modality so much is that we're constantly encouraging each other to own our stuff, and we call each other out, and we're always learning, we're always growing, we're always improving. Gosh, I mean, some of the people like yourself, Jackie, the people that I really, really respect in this business are the ones doing exactly that, because you can see the growth, and it's just really, really inspiring. So that's a huge tip. And then also you said, say yes, right? Start saying yes to things as they come up. I know that's something I had to work on early on in my career, you know, talking to people and just not knowing if I was capable of doing it. Yet when I finally did step through, to see the gratitude and to hear and to be thanked, you know, to you know, we forget people aren't used to us, you know, when we're sitting with a client, we're so present with them and we're so there for them. People aren't used to getting that kind of attention. And so just know that you've got the goods. I think that's so powerful. And then you also say, get used to the no's. I think that's also a huge, huge point, because rejection is not, it has really nothing to do with you. It has everything else to do with where that other person is at in the moment. And then it can also be a learning experience. It can also be feedback for how you're approaching your business. Of course, if they have your material, then those no's will probably be come way down, it sounds like. And then the fourth one, what was the fourth one?
Self-confidence.
Self-confidence. So I think that kind of goes with everything, right? I mean, that's what we should all be striving for. And what is self-confidence? It's just a belief in what you're doing. It's a belief in yourself. And like you mentioned, you had a past with abuse. You had to go where many people don't want to go, where many therapists don't want to go, but you went there and you healed it. I too had to do the same thing. You know, severe anxiety in social situations, a lot of addictive, you know, I turned to a lot of drugs and alcohol to overcome my my lack of self-confidence, if you will. And so such a huge part of going there and healing and doing your own work. And then finally, you said realizing your worth. And that's really what this whole program, your whole program, is all about. It's about waking up and smelling the fact, smelling the, it's all, the writing's on the wall. There's corporations, Tony Robbins goes to a corporation and talks for 5 minutes and walks away with $1 million. You know what I mean? What does he have that we don't have? I mean, really, we've got the information and the capability to show people how to change their lives, how to sit with people, and how to deal with the everyday stressors that they experience day to day in a job where they're sitting from 9 to 5. They have very little precious time outside of that workplace. They want to be enjoying themselves, and they want to be able to enjoy themselves while they're at work and be productive and have something to wake up to every day, to be happy to. Man, if you can give that to these employees, they'll be hiring you and hiring us in droves, So realizing that you've got the goods, I think, is so important. Jackie, I know we've gone almost an hour. We've got about 1 hour and 20 minutes. Would you be open to answering a couple of questions if people have them?
Yeah, right. Sure.
All right, so if you guys have questions, first of all, let me know if you guys appreciate what Jackie's brought to the table today. And you can just type it in the chat box. Anybody home?
Maybe we bored them.
Oh, Jason says, brilliant webinar. Thank you both very much. Jason, thank you so much, buddy.
Oh, thanks, Jason.
Really appreciate it. And as I mentioned earlier, Anne-Marie says, very inspiring. Thank you, Anne-Marie. As I mentioned earlier, one of the great things about doing this kind of stuff is, it's just sort of raising the bar for all of us. I think we have so much to offer. And, I think the better we hone our craft and the better we represent our craft, the better it is for all of us, for you, for me, for all the modalities, and that's the other thing we should talk about is this isn't just FasterEFT. It's not just Matrix. It's not just EFT. I mean, you tell me, Jackie, but someone could probably take your model, maybe, if they're a hypnotherapist, or maybe they're into meditation or something like that. They could probably adapt your model.
Definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Right?
It's just the one-day workshop. You just need to tweak the parts where we're talking about tapping, because maybe you don't do tapping. So you would just put in your stuff. Yeah. But all the other processes and systems would be exactly the same.
Fantastic. Okay, Cindy's got a question. She says, first question from Cindy is, so is part of the contact cold calling companies?
No. Because people have a problem cold calling. And so I've created a system where you don't actually have to cold call. And that was a huge relief to the people who've attended Brisbane and Melbourne. I found a way that you can contact people and, get them to want to meet with you. And then the next point of contact will be face-to-face. So you can do cold calling if you wish, but that's not what I did.
Awesome. Alice Dini says, love it, never boring. That's cool.
Yay!
Cindy has another question. She says, does the type of company matter or size of company?
No, it's totally the practitioner's choice. So like I said, you might decide you want to just target small businesses. You might want to target large businesses. So I'll show you how to do that, how to get their contact details, and then how to approach them, and provide you with the email template to approach them. So, yeah.
Excellent. Again, it just sounds like you have everything, all your bases covered, which is awesome. Elise says, excellent. It's inspiring, even though it's not time for myself. So great to hear of FasterEFT folks going more and more to engage in global cooperation. Very good. I agree. Oh. Yeah, awesome. Sarah says, what is the layout content of the 3 days of training? So I guess she's saying, what modules do you cover and what days?
Oh, so hold on till I get my little booklet. So this is your little workbook, everybody. So you, on the first day, day one, we'll be doing a lot on self-confidence, giving you a toolkit for self-confidence. We'll be doing some tapping to get rid of any issues that are blocking that. We're going to help you identify target industries that you want to target. We're going to get you brainstorming contacts you may already have. We're going to understand what do corporates want and what are the benefits that your business delivers, how to find corporates, and how to use the tools that I've got to locate the corporate. So that's day one. Day two, so day two, we talk about the process for success, getting how to contact the clients, and then preparing for the meeting, what you need to do, what you do in the meeting, what you do after the meeting. We then go into what's your worth and the money mindset and clear any blocks in relation to that. We talk through what are your products and the pricing that you have, which is the products and pricing I have, but you'll just USify it, the dollars. We'll talk through the 8 secrets of success for your business. We're going to talk about personal branding, feedback, testimonials, etc. And then the final day, where are you gone? Final day, we've got a lady that I worked with most recently. She's a salesperson, hugely successful, both nationally and internationally. She actually does a video for some sales kind of training advice. How to deal with rejection. We're going to deal with that on the third day, and we're going to do any tapping to release any issues around that. What you need to do in relation to packing your bags for training, what do you need to take, how do you prep the room, how do you run, then I'm going to run through the one-day workshops. You actually know how to go from start to finish and what to say. I have scripts almost for every slide, so you can just basically read them if you are very nervous. We are going to talk about turnaround times, how long it takes for different companies to sign off on things, and also your turnaround times for doing things. And then we're going to have a bit of a celebration because the workshop would soon be over, and I'm going to get some feedback from you all, so that if I need to improve this workshop in any way, that you can tell me how.
Awesome.
And that's a wrap.
All right. Thank you. Anybody else have any questions? Great questions so far, by the way. We can probably take 1 or 2 more. I think that might be it. So one more time, the dates are, what's the date on the Belfast one coming up?
Belfast is the 28th of August, 28th, 29th, and 30th of August.
All right, so coming up at the end of the month here. And then in Toronto, you've got September 11th through the 13th.
Yep.
And then Houston is September 18th through the 20th. Yeah, you're going to be doing some traveling. And then Los Angeles, you get to rock it out and party on the 25th through the 27th.
That's right.
Awesome. Awesome.
So
well, I'm excited.
Lovely folk there. It would be fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. So
I want more people joining my team. World domination.
Yes. Again, I love the fact that, you know, the whole networking event, or, you know, networking aspect of what you're doing, and having the Facebook group, and really looking to train a small group of people so that we can all be serious about this. And I think that's a great way. And I think it's a good idea to actually screen people and make sure that we're getting the right people in this program. That being said, if this speaks to you, as it did to me, you know, if this is something where you can begin seeing yourself, even if there's some fear there, even if there's those doubts, those worries, I might have a tool that can help you work your way through that. But if it's something that if there's a part of you that's going, yeah, why not me? Then I really, really suggest you click on the link and just fill out the application. Let Jackie know that you're interested, and you know, she'll contact you and see if it's right for you. But I'm really, really excited. Cindy has Sarah says very helpful. Thank you. And Cindy has one more question. She says, what has been your most successful corporate adventure? Well, I know it wasn't corporate, but you did do a tour in India for billionaires, so that's got to be that's got to be up there.
My successful, I did a workshop with this company, and I had this wonderful lady on the workshop. It was the accounts department, so it was 8 people from the accounts team, and this lady called Elsa had a sore left foot, very swollen for I think about 2 weeks. She couldn't wear shoes to work. She had to wear flip-flops, like open toe kind of sandals. She had to elevate her leg at her desk and had to take pain medication every 3 hours. She couldn't run after her children. She was very self-conscious about it. And I was doing the workshop and I demonstrate tapping and I asked for a volunteer. So she was straight up, and it was fantastic because I said to her, look, we only have 10 minutes for this demo, but don't worry, we're getting a one-on-one tomorrow. So if we don't manage to clear this up now, which I don't know if we will, we always have tomorrow. So I was kind of setting her up to say there's not a chance we can do this, even though I thought I'm just kind of messing with you in an NLP way. So we did the tapping session, and she got up and she started walking around the room, and her limp was totally gone. And she had such a prominent limp all day, and the limp was gone. And she started saying, oh my God, you're going to put doctors out of business. I was like, okay. And that particular workshop, we seemed to have I had a lot of physical pain. So I had a girl who had an earache who couldn't hear the right side of the office. I had someone who had a shoulder ache. I had someone who had an elbow ache. It was all physical pain. And so by the end of the workshop in the 2 days, there was no physical pain. So there was no, people could hear, the earache was gone, the shoulder, the back, no limping. So that was probably the most fun and the one that stands out the most, because, physical pain is such a one, you see it and then you don't. And everyone in the office saw the difference between the people who were in pain and then they weren't, or they weren't limping anymore. They were like, wow, this is crazy.
And I'm curious, that's awesome. And I'm curious from a practitioner's point of view, you don't have to go into detail, but was the emotional cause behind their pains related to their work environment, or was it completely something else separate?
So the lady with the foot, which was really interesting, it was connected to, she had just started in this job a couple of months, and it was connected to her old boss. Mm-hmm. It was the emotion connected to her old boss. She wasn't very happy about her. The other people it was all personal, all of it.
Right.
Even the ones where they came to me, what I've noticed is even the ones where they've come to me and they're pissed off with their boss, it's not their boss, it's their brother or their father or their sister or their mother. So once you clear the personal stuff, then that person doesn't agitate them as much, which makes working relationships a whole lot easier.
That's where it all starts.
Yes.
That's awesome. Wow. All right. Well, this was a lot of fun. We are coming up on the hour-and-a-half mark, I think. Cindy says, great, thanks for sharing. Pat says, would Jackie be willing to do a training in Atlanta, Georgia in the future?
Whereabouts on the map is Atlanta, Georgia? I'd love to. If you can get me 10 people.
Yeah. 10 people. All right, you heard it. You heard it, Pat. Get her 10 people, and she's flying to Georgia.
I'll come to Houston or LA, and then we can talk about it.
Yes. All right, one more question. It looks like Sarah says, during these workshops at corporate, the employees take part?
Yes. So the management will decide who's attending the workshop. So it could be just the leadership team or the senior managers. I have worked in organizations and they get the whole department, whether it's the sales team or the whole accounts department or whatever, to go through the training, which is my workshop. And then I try and sell them the one-on-one sessions as well.
Excellent. All right. Well, I'm going to just put this link up one more time in case people don't have it there. And this is just to be clear, this is the link to the application. So there's not a sales page there. Although you do have, I think there's some testimonials from past attendees.
Yeah, so we've put up on there some of the attendees from Brisbane and Melbourne, so people get to see now some, I suppose, some feedback from people who've been there. So everyone who attended, I was so touched. Everyone gave me a video testimonial.
That's awesome.
And under no peer pressure. It was just that they felt that the workshop was really good and that they got a lot out of it. So yeah, so there's some testimonials on there of people's experience of the workshop. There's also some testimonials from some of the companies that I've worked with of how they felt the session or the workshop was, just so that you get an understanding that it's not just me saying that it's good, that's some of my clients. And then there's the application on there, so you just fill in the form and submit it, and then we'll be in touch.
Awesome. Very good. All right, well, I'm excited. I cannot wait to see you in Los Angeles. I'm really looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to everybody else that attends. I think it's going to be a remarkable group of people, and just thanks for I know that obviously we're letting people know about your program here, but I really want to thank you for just sharing those tips. I know I kind of cornered you into it, but I think it's awesome. I think you have a lot to share and a lot of knowledge, and I think that as we all grow and learn as practitioners, we have almost a duty to share that knowledge with other people and with each other. And so I just want to thank you and commend you for doing that. And you're welcome. And just keep doing what you do, because the world needs you. Needs all of us.
Well, that's why I think that, once this, I've done my first round around the world of how to tap into corporates. Having that team is going to be just fantastic, to know that we're all there for each other, and we're all on the same mindset. We're all on the same page. We want to work less for more money, and then have what we do and who we work with and how we work, and make the world a better place.
Amen. Well, thank you. Okay, I guess that's it, everybody. Thank you, Jackie. Thank you very much for doing this, and maybe we'll talk again soon in the near future. Maybe do another one of these. Who knows? Hopefully this recording worked out. So everybody that's on the call, if you're still on and wondering about a recording, you should get an email within the hour with the recording of this webinar. And also I'll be sending it out to you too, just in case it doesn't work out. So I think that's it. Thanks everybody for hanging out. Thanks everybody for watching and attending. Pat says, East Coast of the States, I assume. Anne-Marie says, thank you both very much. Come to Toronto, yeah. Anne-Marie says, thank you both very much. So you're welcome, Anne-Marie.
You're welcome, Anne-Marie.
And thanks again. Sarah says, thanks for taking the time to share with us, Alan and Jackie. Thank you, Sarah, very much. Our pleasure. Sarah. All right. All right, Jackie, you're off the hook. I'm going to hang out for a little bit just to make sure everything's good. And thank you again, my sweet.
That's all right, lovely. I will see you in a couple of weeks, but I'll probably be talking to you before then anyway.
Indeed. Thank you.
All right. See you guys. Bye, Alan.